Hello, this is Black Contraband, and today we will be discussing what is reparations. Brought to you in partnership by Black Contraband Media and Go Create Media LLC and the Freedmen Agenda League of Michigan. What is reparations? Within its broadest definition, reparations is the making of amends for a wrong one is done by way of compensation or restitution to those who have been wronged. It is a demand for justice and a true measure of redress. Reparations is not an entirely new concept. It is a concept that continues to evolve and take many shapes that are tailored to remedy or undo specific harm suffered by a specific group of people. In the United States, reparations are owed to American freedmen for the compounded injustices they have experienced. What does reparations look like? In order to be considered a reparations program must meet the 5 tenets set by the United Nations. The 5 tenets set by the United Nations are restitution, guarantees of non-repetition, compensation, rehabilitation, and satisfaction. For descendants of American slavery, all reparations programs should address the impacts and lingering effects of chattel slavery and Jim Crow. Reparations in its totality could include the sum of the following: cash payments, land, economic development, transfer of property, educational programs, tax exemptions, policy protections, and much more. The goal of any reparations programs proposed should seek to provide remedies that address the racial wealth gap and other disparities created by slavery and its institutions. Who should receive reparations? As stated above, we believe that reparations are owed to the specific group or lineage that has suffered the harm. American reparations for the descendants of the formerly enslaved American freedmen must address the harms and disadvantages suffered by freedmen communities. For example, ending the years-long practice of denying descendants of the formerly enslaved the right to an ethnic identity will result in development of policies geared towards addressing that group's specific needs. As we have seen historically, advancements for American freedmen ultimately results in many boons for other groups by way of positive change in America. We, the descendant community, believe that reparations proposals based upon a history of American freedmen should solely be awarded to descendants of those who endured the generational harms associated to that history. We fully denounce efforts to include groups who do not share a history of the harms and disadvantages experienced by the injured families. During the Holocaust, only Jewish people who suffered the harm and their descendants were entitled to reparations. Other groups of whites were not included despite their group suffering at the hands of Nazi supremacy during the Holocaust. Following Japanese internment, only Japanese people who suffered the harm and their descendants were entitled to reparations. Other groups of Asians were not included despite their group suffering at the hands of white supremacy in America. Why are American freedmen descendants entitled to reparations? The vestiges of chattel slavery and the transatlantic slave trade are in their own way a holocaust for Black American freedmen and their descendants. The history of American freedmen in the United States is a history packed with brutalization, subjugation, murder, rape, dehumanization, and torture. Imagine living in a world where you and your family could be sold and traded for profit. Imagine a world where you have no rights, liberties, or protections from the hands of evil men and women. Imagine a world where you are stripped of your language, religion, culture, and heritage, and given a new name that is foreign to your identity. Imagine a world where the government and other culprits responsible for the conditions of said group have refused to remedy the issues they have caused. Imagine a world where you are told of equality and justice, but when it comes to your group, only the opposite are given. Imagine and then attempt to comprehend that this is the reality of all descendants of American freedmen. They need your support today. Support lineage-based reparations. Thank you. Brought to you by Reparationist Advocates near you.